Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday. Hey, baby, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Very good. Got a guest coming up later in the program. Gordon Kent, going to be talking about skills gaps. So that's coming up later in the program about finding out maybe the things you should be brushing up on so you'll be getting a good job in the future. Like me, learning how to speak. Hey, I've got a quote here from Larry Bird. It says, "Don't let winning make you soft. Don't let losing make you quit. And don't let your teammates down in any situation." That's a good quote.
I suppose.
It's really nice. A Tufts University study of mice found that pregnancy sends new stem cells to the women's brains that rejuvenates her mind in mice. So I don't know if that's the same in people, but there you go. And Heidi's going to like this. A team of Chinese scientists found in tests of 57 different drinks, guess what performed best in relieving alcohol-related symptoms? What's the hangover helper out there?
McDonald's.
No, a drink. What drink would it be?
Oh.
Sprite.
Why would I like that?
Now you know. That's
Okay.
what you need to have on hand quite often. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
Thought you'd never ask. It's Wednesday, March the 22nd. It is As Young as You Feel Day. It is Education and Sharing Day. International Day of the Seal. It is Tuskegee Airmen Day. It is World Day for Water, also known as World Water Day. And it's National Goof Off Day. Do you ever celebrate National Goof Off Day?
I don't get to. I always have to work.
Yeah. What if it's on a weekend? Then you get to celebrate it?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I've never had it
never got
on
to
a day where
celebrate.
I get to goof off.
You've never gotten to goof off? Well, maybe one of these days we'll celebrate National Goof Off Day. Maybe next year. Not this year. You got stuff to do. So do I. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Hey, it's John and Heidi. Join us for 80s in the Sand, a week-long 80s event this November 11th through the 18th in beautiful Punta Cana in the Dominican Republic.
Meet and listen to 80s bands like Loverboy, Starship, Howard Jones, and many more.
Plus, meet 80s icons from the movies like Anthony Michael Hall, Andrew McCarthy, and several others.
Get all the details at 80sinthesand.com.
Use promo code RADIO to get a $200 immediate refund per person.
Book your week-long 80s vacation now at 80sinthesand.com.
You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. Having a hot foot doesn't necessarily have to be just an expression. It says a city accountancy firm, Deloitte & Touche, organized a motivational training day for their workers. Part of the motivational training was a fire walk. Where you're supposed to, walk over the hot coals. Well, barefoot women, there was a barefoot woman walking on the coals. She was being cheered by her colleagues. She said, "Oh, man, this is hot." Anyway, they kept saying, "It's all in your head." Well, it wasn't in her head. There were blisters on her feet when she was done, and they called them, "Oh, those are fire kisses." Yeah, no, they're not. They're blisters. That's what they are. Anyway, says she and her feet eventually had to be taken to the hospital. She was off work for 14 days. The magistrate's court heard the injured woman, and colleagues were told that firewalking would, quote, would be no more dangerous than walking on hot sand, end quote. However, it is believed that pedicure fluid that was on her feet from a couple days earlier is what actually caused her to have such problems. They're saying it had nothing to do with those hot coals.
You don't force your employees to do stuff like that anyway.
Anyway, flames reacted with her skin. That's what I think happened. That is just crazy. I've seen it where they walk on broken glass and it's a team building exercise. No, it's not.
No, it's not. That's just insane.
There are things you can do to build a team where you don't have to do anything dangerous like that. And I think we talked about this before because I remember that pedicure fluid at the end there.
Yeah, I know we have. I wasn't going to say anything.
Have we really?
Because you do this a lot.
I'm slowly losing my mind. Yeah, but that pedicure fluid, I was like, you know what? I think I've mentioned this before. Anyway, yeah, she walked on hot coals all the way to the ER. So that's not good. But it's true because you heard it on the radio again.
John and Heidi.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again,
844-204-1055.
and this is your brain on drugs. We're going to head to Germany, where we find a couple of train buffs going to do a little jail time now after they built their own locomotive. Heidi? Took it out for a spin on a public rail line. The seated six-seater train was made out of garden furniture and salvaged train parts, powered by an electric motor, and it had its own bar, a little crate of beer and a refreshment car. Residents spotted this unorthodox vehicle. They called the police. They had to get a helicopter to find out where the thing had gone. The regular train had to suspend all service so they wouldn't collide with this goofy little contraption. And the good news is they scheduled their little trip on a day that there were no trains scheduled on those tracks. So I wonder if they had insight into when the trains were going to be there.
I don't know, but that's awesome.
That's really dangerous to just say, hey, let's go for a spin.
Of course, it's very dangerous.
So the men were arrested on unauthorized vehicle and currently face public safety charges. And they were a little tipsy there. So, yeah, not a good idea.
John and Heidi.
Now your moment of duh. Just because you're underage doesn't mean you can't smart off to authorities with some kind of consequences. That is what happened to a 16-year-old witness at a preliminary hearing for an attempted murder case. This happened in Kansas. Now, keep in mind, he was a witness. The court, he got in there and they started asking questions, and before they'd even finished the questions, he was just saying, nope, I don't know. He was like interrupting the attorney. And that's when the judge stepped in and said, okay, let the attorney finish his questions before you answer. And he kept on doing it. The judge says, hey, you're real close to being in contempt of court. And that's when the kid said, well, you're getting real close to ticking me off.
Whoa.
And that is when
I'm sure that did not end well.
No, that is when he was sentenced to 30 days in juvenile hall. So, hey, the dude over there in the robe, treat him nice. He's the judge.
Wow.
Or she's the judge. It could be a she. Treat all of the elders nice. You know, those attorneys, just be nice. Snot-nosed kid, thanks for listening to your moment of duh.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now your Scoop of the Day. Heidi, do you have an extra $340,000?
No.
No? Okay. Well, never mind then. I was just going to say, there's a new car out there. It's a Mercedes and Range Rover. No, it's better than that. It's a Rolls-Royce family hauler. They've got the new Rolls-Royce Cullinan, named after the 3,000-carat diamond. It's coming out next year, and it's going to cost you $340,000.
I will have a Rolls-Royce one day. You mark my words.
I can get you some Rolls. Maybe talk to a guy named Royce. Nah, probably not.
No.
A mother dropping off her child at Deer Park Elementary School in Deer Park, Texas last week felt another mom was speeding through the drop-off zone, so she confronted her. The second mom pulled a gun.
Whoa.
And said, back off. So, yeah, that doesn't sound like a great thing to have happen to you, does it? I understand, she's getting up in your face, but she's saying, hey, you need to slow down in the school zones. And she pulled a gun on her and said, no,
I was in a hurry.
You need to back off. Oh, was it you, Heidi? No, this was in Deer Park, Texas. It was not you. What else do we have over here? How about this? From Maryland, 33-year-old Devin John Eason allegedly beat his 4-year-old son so severely he ended up in the hospital.
Oh my gosh.
Guess why? Because
Why?
the boy couldn't pronounce the word for, F-O-U-R. According to court records, the boy's mother took him to the hospital in February with bruises on his head and his face and his back and his buttocks and on one of his legs. Some of his hair had been pulled from the scalp.
Oh my gosh.
His dad now faces child abuse and assault charges and remains in jail without bail. The child's 6-year-old brother also told officers that he witnessed the beating. Again, this guy is 33 years old and his son is only 4. And he kept asking him how old he was, and he couldn't say 4, so he beat him senseless, which is,
my gosh.
That's just not good. O.J. Simpson might be getting out of prison as soon as October, so he could be out of prison. That'd be kind of interesting. I wonder what would you do if you're O.J. Simpson? Do you think he's got enough money where he doesn't need a job, or would he have to go get a job?
I think he lost a lot of that in civil suits, and
I wonder if I wonder what he's going to do then for like a job. That would be kind of interesting. I suppose there would probably be a media frenzy that'll, be following him, and he'll be able
He'll get a reality show.
He'll do something. Hey, in 2000, not that I'm concerned. I'm just saying, I wondered. It's not like anyway, moving on. 10 years ago, since 2007, astronomers have noticed 20 or so of these fast radio bursts, or FRBs, and there's at least a few scientists who believe they may actually be generated by advanced alien civilizations as a way to accelerate interstellar spacecraft to tremendous speeds. So there's been 20 of these that we've witnessed in the last 10 years, and they think that it's somebody else, shooting around the galaxy at high speeds. So that's kind of cool. I wonder how you do that. South Korea's Constitution Court ruled to uphold the impeachment of President Park Geun-hye on Friday, making the first democratically elected president to be removed from office in the country's history. So, next time you're thinking we've got troubles, just think, hey, we could be South Korea. That could be going on here. And scientists have mapped the loudest and quietest place in America. Where do you think the loudest place in America is?
New York City?
Yeah. Loudest places were New York City, Los Angeles, and Dallas. My page does not have the quietest place. So I don't know where that is. Maybe it's over on Heidi's side of the counter.
I would assume it's in Alaska somewhere.
It's on Heidi's side of the counter today. She's not saying much. What are you doing over there?
Writing on my calendar.
Would you quit? And finally, British Columbia is now using camera-equipped garbage trucks to film what gets dumped in order to make sure people are recycling properly. Yeah. So if you're not recycling,
stinks in here.
If you're not recycling,
do you think it stinks in here?
I have no idea.
The studio reeks.
What does it smell like, or do I not want to know?
I don't know, like dirty feet or something. It's awful.
Welcome to my area. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Radio advertising works. When it's done right, it works even better. There are many things you can do to get a better response, and shouting sale really isn't the best thing, believe it or not. Did you know that when you put words to music, they're 9 times more memorable? If you're trying to get people to remember your company, consider a jingle. We work with one of the very best jingle companies in the business, and we'd love to use music to help you grow your company. Learn more and hear examples at RadioReallyWorks.com. That's RadioReallyWorks.com.
John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. So many times we talk to people on this program, people that I've never met before, people that I don't know. And today, my guest is somebody that I don't know, but we have a mutual friend. And that always makes it more fun because we get a chance to talk about that person before we go on the air. And then we get to go on the air and talk about all kinds of other fun stuff. Gordon Kent is my guest today, and he is the president of Progressive Career LLC. And like I said, a mutual friend of ours connected us because he said, Gordon is such a fascinating guy, and he's got all these cool things that he's doing. I think he'd be a really fun interview. And just from our chat ahead of time, I think that he's absolutely right. Gordon, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm very well, thank you, John. Good morning.
Good morning. And it's fun because we were talking about what your company does, Progressive Career LLC, and on your LinkedIn it says a company specializing in talent programs for companies, universities, and governments. And what you do is you work with people to the skills gap, making sure that the people are ready to do the job they need to do. Am I saying all that correctly?
You're saying it very correctly, John, and thank you for sort of giving me an introduction. That's exactly what I'm doing. What we're finding, and you'll probably be familiar with the term skills gap, but what we're finding is that skills gap often is a training gap. It really means that we've got jobs that are not being filled because people are not suited for them, not well trained for them, not ready for them, etc., even though there are people looking for jobs. So that's the skills gap, and very often skills gaps are about training and getting people ready for jobs and for the workforce. And that's what I'm trying to do.
And that's a really good thing to do. And it's neat. Again, before we went on the air, you were saying that you spent about 8 years overseas in London. Now you're back in New York. How different is it in a different country like in England than it is in the United States when it comes to the skills gap? Is it about the same or are two different playing fields there?
It's different. It's very, very similar, and it has some differences. So I guess where I would start is it's very similar in that both in the United Kingdom and in London, especially where I worked, as well as here in the U.S., the skills gap is often about digital skills, IT skills, technical skills, and that's common between the two places, across the two sides of the pond. The British educational system is very different. I won't bore you with a lot of the different terminology and how it works differently. But by and large, they're trying to close skills gaps similarly to what we're doing here. They're trying to educate people and prepare them better for the workforce. And over there, I specifically addressed a gap with computer science graduates who weren't getting jobs, and yet companies were looking for digital skills and IT skills. So that was an example of a gap that we tried to close. Very similar in terms of what the gaps are. Educational systems are different.
And one of the things that's important is making sure that you have the skills to do whatever jobs are going to be open. So, right now, if you were learning how to do something that technology is fading away, that might not make a whole lot of sense. But if you're learning to do things that technology is emerging and that's going to be the next big thing, that's probably a much better idea because you're going to have many different job opportunities in the future. Is that right?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. What you really need to do is look out there and see where the world is going. I am a big believer that technology drives the world. The changes in technology over the years that I've been doing this in corporate life and business life, and changes in technology in the future will drive a lot of sort of business change and job opportunity. I've worked in technology a lot of my career, and I've seen unbelievable changes. And I think the jobs of the future, certainly for people who have an interest in technology or math or science, is almost unlimited. But you got to get yourself trained up and ready for those skills, to have those skills. Otherwise, you're going to miss the opportunity.
So when you right now work with, like I said on here, it says companies, universities, governments. When you work with a business, let's just pick a company. What are the biggest skill gaps that you typically find right now, or that their people are maybe not quite ready for at this point?
I'm going to say it's two different types, John. I would say, one, there are technical skills, computer skills, technology skills. Cyber is a very, very hot topic right now, as you know. Cyber skills about how to protect your network and your applications better, and all that sort of technical stuff, as well as what I would call digital skills, skills for the digital age. Even if you're not interested in technology, if you're interested in retailing or online sites, etc., you still have to have a fair amount of knowledge about technology nowadays. The other set of skills, and frankly, John, something that I concentrate on a lot, is what I would call skills that enable you to be prepared for the workplace readiness skills. And often those skills are not technical. Often those skills are interpersonal. So nowadays we have technology that connects us, and we think, hey, I'm working with somebody in China or in India or in Mexico, and we're all connected, so we're all the same. The truth is, we're not all the same. We still are in different cultures and different countries and have different customs. And very often working across those different cultures, even though you're connected, is a challenge. And a lot of the interpersonal skills that people need to be really successful in the workplace are not necessarily there, and are skills that can be trained as much as technical skills. And that's something that I'm working on.
Again, visiting right now with Gordon Kent. He's with Progressive Career LLC, and we're talking about skills gaps. And when you were talking about those interpersonal skills, it reminded me of something that happened here at the radio station. We had a young man that came in that wanted to be an intern, and it was interesting because he wouldn't make eye contact. We were talking, and like the whole time he's kind of looking at everything on the walls. And when I shook his hand, it was what I refer to as a dead fish handshake, So the thing that I did is I said, because I've got a son that's 20, I've got a daughter that's in high school, and, our kids, we kind of raise them this way to know that those things are important. So I just talked to the kid. He was saying, I've tried to get internships and nobody's even calling me back. And I said, well, let me talk to you about one of the reasons that might be. And I was visiting with him about how important a handshake is and, all of these things. And would those fall in the skills gap in that interpersonal thing as well?
Absolutely. So I'm providing, offering and currently running a series of workshops that address a whole series of interpersonal skills. So let me just give you a sense of the kinds of things that people need to be successful in today's workplace. So working across cultures, for example, and I was talking to you about that.
Yeah.
Interpersonal skills like presenting for impact, how to get up in front of a crowd and present and win hearts and minds, how to work with people of different styles. So you and I might be very outgoing and boisterous and ebullient in a meeting, and other people might sit back and be quiet. Part of that might be cultural, part of that might be just their own personality, and it isn't necessarily a bad thing to learn how to work with people of different styles and different behaviors, because you absolutely have to do that in today's world. So it's a long list of interpersonal skills. Some of them kind of subtle, some of them you pick up over the years. But I would argue, John, they are at least as important, if not more so, than the technical skills that you need to be successful.
I agree 100%, because so many times, and I read a statistic one time that said we make our first impression of somebody within the first few seconds of meeting them.
Right.
So if the first impression that you're making is, you won't make eye contact and you shake your hand and it's kind of this limp little thing, you've got a big hurdle to overcome to, where another candidate that might not be quite as qualified doesn't have the hurdle to overcome because they made a good first impression and they're actually looking at that resume, and all the rest of that stuff matters a little bit more. So I agree 100%. And thank you for doing what you're doing, because I think that's really important. And there are a lot of people that just don't know what they don't know. And if they don't know it, they're never going to be able to fix it. So thanks for doing what you're doing to help them fix those skills gaps.
Thank you. Appreciate what you say. And I'm very passionate about it. I've had some experience about it. What I did in the UK, in London, was very much around this, and I'm very convinced that there's real opportunity for it to help people. So thank you for what you said.
So again, Gordon Kent has been our guest today. Mr. Kent, where can they find you online? Is there a place to go to learn more about Progressive Career LLC in case maybe a company...
My website is, I'm sorry, forgive me for stepping on you there.
No,
my website is Progressive Career, one word, no space, .net, not .com, .net. And you can find out a whole bunch of information about what I'm doing there and some information about me and how to get in touch and all of that. So I would recommend that you go to the website.
Very nice. And, in case we have maybe a company listening or a university or a government listening, I don't know if we have any of that, but I think we got some companies. I don't know about a government.
Russia listening?
They might be. You never know.
Well, you never know.
Well, Mr. Kent, thank you so much for the time today. It was very nice to visit with you. You have a wonderful day.
John, thank you very much for having me. I enjoyed it.
Again, Gordon Kent has been our guest today talking about skills gaps, and I agree 100%. I see those, so what a cool thing they're doing. If you'd like to know more about Mr. Kent and what he's doing, I'll give you the website. Again, it's progressivecareer.net.
John and Heidi.
Many people go to college, but when they graduate, they've racked up a ton of debt. Not everyone, though. Matthew Einstein saved over $70,000 on a top-rate education. Then, after everyone wanted to know how he did it, he built a system to show you how to do it, too. Learn how you can use his system for yourself or for your kids. Go to freeeducationuniversity.com. Watch a few videos there for free. Sign up now and get a free 60-minute private consultation with Matthew. That's freeeducationuniversity.com. Use promo code radio20 to save 20%.
John and Heidi.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The number of left-handed men is double that of the number of left-handed women.
Really?
Yeah, there's more lefty men than women. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Approximately 75% of the maple syrup in the world comes from where?
I don't know.
Canada.
Okay.
Yeah.
I really don't care.
Canadian maple syrup. Fun fact for you,
What's
Heidi.
that, John?
The life expectancy of a $100 bill is 9 years.
Okay.
That's how long those things last. They never last that long with me because they get spent right away. Moving on. Fun fact for you,
What's
Heidi.
that, John?
Approximately 1 out of 4 injuries by athletes involves their wrist or their hand. So that's where they're getting hurt the most. Wrists
Really?
and hand, about 1/4 of the injuries. And our final fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Billiards used to be so popular at one time that trading cards were issued featuring players of billiards.
What?
Yeah.
When was this?
It's been a while back, apparently. So, I'm not
Before my time,
Yeah.
clearly.
You ever play billiards?
Yeah.
You good at it?
Cool.
You want to go?
It's not called billiards.
Okay. Well, couple of fun.
I would kick your butt,
You
though.
probably would. Couple of fun facts for you right there on a Wednesday.
John and Heidi.
This is Richard Lustig, the world's first and only 7-time lottery game grand prize winner. Since I endorsed Lottolicious, I have won something every single draw. They do all the work. You don't have to worry about running to the store to buy your tickets. They take care of all that. So if you're looking for the best way to play the lottery, to give yourself the best chance of winning, go to RadioLottoPool.com and join today. Again, that website is RadioLottoPool.com.
John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday. It's kind of nice to every once in a while have something nice to pass along like this. So, according to the headline, finally some good health news about burgers, fried chicken, potato chips, and cake.
Okay.
Yeah, probably not, though. Let's take a listen. It says junk food like burgers, fried chicken, potato chips, and cake are supposed to be bad for you since they're loaded with fat and sugar. But
They are.
myth-busting study concludes that they can help beat stress. Yeah.
I would agree with that because they're comfort foods.
Researchers fed 2 groups of lab rats, junk food and healthy food, and they were shocked by the results. What they found was the animals that had the junk food diet were much less anxious than those who ate the healthy food. This according to the study of the head professor, the head professor of the study, Professor Margaret Morris. In fact, she says, the animals given the low-fat diet had twice the stress level as the junk food mice. And the rats, which wolfed down high sugar and fat foods, showed overall lower levels of depression than the healthy eating rats as well. What do you think of all of that?
I think it's as fascinating as I thought it was the last time you told that.
Did I read this before too? Yes. Are you serious?
Here's the thing. You used to recycle them like once a year, and now it's like once a week, once
it's
every
not.
2 weeks. This
It's
has
been-
not been that long ago. I'm going to go back in the archives and
Yeah,
find
sure
it.
you
It
are.
hasn't been that long ago.
You say you're going to go back. You won't go back. You never do. Throw that around out here. Oh, I'm going to check into this. Okay.
I'm gonna find it.
Here's the sad thing. I don't even remember that. So we talked about that before?
Yes.
How is that possible? All right. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. I'll probably have something else I'll share again in a bit.
John and Heidi.
Hey, it's John and Heidi inviting you to join us for a party in paradise.
This is a week-long event with 80s music from over a dozen awesome bands.
And 80s movie and TV icons like Anthony Michael Hall, Andrew McCarthy, and several others.
Get all the details at 80sinthesand.com.
Use promo code RADIO to get a $200 immediate refund per person.
We'll even get together to have some drinks with you.
Book your week-long 80s vacation now at 80sinthesand.com.
That's 80sinthesand.com.
John and Heidi.
Have you ever been so mad at your mother you wanted to just rob a bank?
No, I can't say that I have.
All right. Stephen Z was so mad at his mama, that's what he did. He hoped to use the money to start a new life, but apparently he had second thoughts after the robbery. 3 hours after the crime, he called 911 and turned himself in. Why was he so mad at mama? Apparently he had an argument with her on the way to his anger management class.
Isn't that nice?
Oh, it's always the trip to anger
They
management where you
didn't
have
teach
problems.
him very well how to manage his anger.
No, I think he's failing the class. I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty
He's
sure.
not a shining example of how to manage your anger. I can tell you that much. All right, coming
Unless
up in a bit.
one of the ways to manage anger was when you get mad, just go rob a bank.
I don't
then
think so.
If that's the case,
I don't think
then
that's
he's
it.
passing with
Yeah.
flying colors.
Probably, but I doubt that's. I doubt that's in the course. But you just never know.
John and Heidi.
I remember when I was a kid, you'd watch cartoons and they would like have a banana peel and people would slip on it and fall. Remember
Yeah.
that? I've never ever seen anybody really slip and fall on a banana
I
peel.
haven't either.
But I also have never really seen anybody walk across the banana peel and like not slip and fall either. So I don't know if they really work. But the U.S. Marine Corps now has a new thing. They got, tanks, bombs, missiles, machine guns. They got a new thing now, and it's called banana peel in a can. It sounds like a joke, but it's real. San Antonio Southwest Research Institute developed a spray-on gel that is so slippery that the Marine Corps believes it would be useful to keep mobs from attacking embassies or military bases. Tests had people walk across banana peel in a can with no success. Nobody could get through it. So they're saying this could be a way to get mobs
That's fantastic.
to stop. But here's the problem then. How do you clean it up? Hopefully they have
probably dissolves or something after
I hope
a
they got a
while.
plan to get all that stuff cleaned up, because that just sounds like a filthy mess. Anyway, coming up, going to talk about things that you may be doing that could be stopping you from getting a good night's sleep. That's on the way.
John and Heidi.
Many people go to college, but when they graduate, they've racked up a ton of debt. Not everyone, though. Matthew Einstein saved over $70,000 on a top-rate education. Then, after everyone wanted to know how he did it, he built a system to show you how to do it too. Learn how you can use this system for yourself or for your kids. Go to freeeducationuniversity.com. Sign up now and get a free 60-minute private consultation with Matthew. That's freeeducationuniversity.com. Use promo code RADIO20 to save 20%.
John and Heidi.
When you lay down to go to sleep at night, if you're struggling to fall asleep, you're in good company. About 65% of Americans struggle to fall asleep. And there's a lot of things that could be causing it. The National Sleep Foundation says, here are a few things that may be the problem for you. First of all, they say it's linked with an increased risk of depression and obesity by not getting sleep. So it's important that you get some sleep. So first thing is, they say setting a bright alarm clock. If you've got an alarm clock that's too bright, whether that's something that's on your phone or if it's an alarm clock or whatever it is, if there's something that's too bright, that could actually cause a problem. Next, counting sheep. It says when you can't fall asleep, it's useless to stay in bed. If you've been trying to fall asleep for more than 30 minutes, the National Sleep Foundation says do something mundane like balance a checkbook, get up and read, or watch TV. Some activity that demands marginal brain power will actually lull your mind. Before you know it, you'll be crawling back into bed and you'll actually be tired.
I agree with reading. I don't agree with watching TV at all, but I do agree with reading. That works
And
awesome.
It says here, exercising late at night could be causing problems to fall asleep. Daytime workouts will keep you invigorated for hours. That's why you want to exercise. You don't want to, exercise within 3 hours of going to sleep. Intense physical activity raises your body temperature and pumps your energy level. Both interrupt a calm transition into sleep. So they're saying no intense physical activity before sleep. Why are you smiling about that over there? What do you... No. Let's just remove that one. I don't want to do it in the morning, and I don't want to do it at night. I'm too busy during the day. Great. Thanks a lot, National Sleep Foundation. My wife's really happy, and I'm not. All right. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
All right, if you were going to just throw this out there and say a New Yorker, how would you would you say that like New Yorkers overall are thought of as like
Rude.
good people or nice people?
Rude.
And here's the thing. Sadly, that's how they're portrayed all the time. Like on movies and TV shows, it is quite often where New Yorkers are portrayed as rude. But here's a man that is anything but rude. One New Yorker is helping to help not only his neighbors, but he's going to help make New Yorkers look a lot nicer here, Heidi. He is Will Boyan, and he's a 42-year-old performer, and he plays bluegrass music at the Street Port Authority bus terminal. And he set up a little thing where people can throw money in, and he collects a lot of cash. But guess what else he does?
He donates it.
He gives it all away at the end of the day. He's got a handwritten sign propped up next to his black guitar case filled with dollar bills. It says, if you're homeless or need help, take as much as you need from the case.
Wow.
How cool is that? So he's there just having fun. And I don't know how he's making a living because, if he's giving it all away, I don't know where he's getting his money to live. But that's really cool that he's doing that. I've got a link to this story on our Facebook page, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show, so you can check it out there. But I just think that's neat. I like inspirational little stories like that. If you come across a fun little inspirational story, something that you think would make a nice bit of good news for the end of our program, you can share it on that same Facebook page. Also, you can share your Dear John letters. We've got one of those coming up tomorrow. We do that every Thursday. And we've had some really interesting ones. We've got a fun one for tomorrow. So, again, you can check that out, and you can share your fun, positive, happy stories there, too. Facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday.